Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Elian's Joy. I'm so glad you are joining this show today. Welcome, welcome. It's great to be here on Win-Win Women TV. And also, of course, we're broadcasting to Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. So we are live today, and I have a wonderful guest. My guest, Andrea Alexander, is here with me today. And we're going to just have such a fun talk about the big word anxiety and all these wonderful things that we really need. And so I hope that you're going to join us live, or I hope that you're going to watch the replay. You can find it everywhere, including on my YouTube channel. And I'll give you a lot of links afterwards. I'm going to introduce Andrea and let us start talking about the amazing things that we are doing together. Andrea is an anxiety expert and coach, and she is really helping people heal through holistic treatment, right? Holistic way of helping people in a journey of transformation with others, right? So the mission is really to support clients to permanently transform from deep-rooted patterns that can be found in daily words and in our body language of pain, the stuff that we hold on to break free from those limiting beliefs, to break free through those thought patterns. It's a holistic approach like I do in my work, right? We want to bring the mind and the body together, Andrea's aiding her clients to really rediscover ease and joy in life. I love that about you because it's all about joy with me, and especially on this show, bringing joy and bringing people tips and tricks that can make it easy, a little bit easier to dance through life. So
No,
we
I
are
love
going to empower and have that, right? We're going to empower people together. So tell me about your transformation a little bit, Andrea, yourself. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm super excited to have you. Tell me where this started, that thing for yourself, and why you felt the need to help others.
You are so welcome, and thank you for having me. And my journey started when I was very small. I had this, my mother used to ask me all the time, "What's wrong with you, Andrea? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, I don't know. And so when I was in my 20s, I was recently out of college, and my dad had shared this book with me written by some author, Freedom something, I choose to remember, about self-hypnosis. And I was doing a self-hypnosis meditation, and I had this horrible, scary something come in. And it was dark. There was no memory attached to it. I just sat bolt right up and just like, and that was the moment that I knew there's nothing wrong with me, that something happened to me. And so I literally spent the next 20, 25 plus years in and out of therapy trying to find out what that was. And I had a belief, and I knew it was sexual trauma. I just didn't know what it was or who it was, because I had no memory at all. And I remember even having the experience of one therapist telling me, "Thank God you don't know." And I was mortifying. And I talked and talked about how miserable I was. And until I got myself to a place where met a woman who did EMDR with me. And we were talking about my walls. And I'm like, my walls, I've always had my feeling walls right here. And in this conversation, I was talking about my walls all the way out in front of me. And I had the awareness that that was completely different than anything I've ever done or said before. And she said, "Are you keeping something in, or are you keeping something out?" And I said, "I don't know yet." And so
That's
then
concept. Yeah.
I had this conversation with my mother because I had this weird stuff come up about my father, and I was not willing to look or recover memory, if that's what it was at that stage. And so I got to this place with this really amazing conversation with my mother and realized it wasn't about my daddy. And so with that, I was willing to begin to explore the memories. And this woman was amazing with me. And I did all this little inner child work and talked to my inner child, and only as much as I need to know. And it came back in, and I was so grateful. And I thought, oh, now I can fix this because that's what I'd been saying. If I just knew, I could fix it. And holy moly, I was unprepared for the amount of feeling that was coming through me and over me in the following 2 years. I had the experience of feeling like I was filled full of bees. My skin crawled, I buzzed, I hummed. I was having 10 to 15 panic attacks a day. I ate a lot of Valium. I took all kinds of medication, and my doctors were telling me, you're just anxiety. It's just anxiety. And what I was saying is, I don't like the way I feel. And I didn't know how to be with it. And it was just coming in and over me. I was so blessed to have so much support from my family. My mother would come and sit with me in my apartment while I worked. And what became my life was I sat in this little corner of my sofa, which I lovingly named my corner office. And I lived there for 2 years until I started to come out of it. And then I remember 2 years later, I was sitting in my house and I was reading Louise Hay and Robert Holden and Life Loves You or something along those lines. And I thought, there's got to be more to life than this, a good day here and there. And that was my call to the universe. I had yet to know that. And I found myself in this class one evening, completely different than anything I'd ever done before. And this was a woman and several coaches, and they were talking about sacred body language. And I imagined it would be something similar to Louise Hay, where our body holds dis-ease, disease, and that we store things in our bodies. And yes, it was similar to that and so different. And they called on a volunteer, and I raised my hand first, and she said, "What hurts?" I said, "My thumb." And she said, "Well, when did it start?" I said, "When I was in college." And she says to me, repeat after me, "I willingly let go." I was like, "Whoa." I willingly let go. And I had the experience of all this feeling come in that was beyond anything I'd had before. And she kept giving me other affirmations or decrees as I know them now. And as I did that, all this feeling continued to come in, and then my voice just disappeared. And I just kept speaking through that veil of grief, and my power returned, and I was able to speak again. And in that moment, the pain in my hand and my thumb completely dissipated. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand consciousness, reality. Our words create our reality. I didn't get any of that. I just knew it was important work. And so I jumped in and did as much as I could by myself with the book and the videos and all that stuff that I love to do, until I couldn't take myself any further. And then I hired one of the coaches, and that's where my life really changed in doing this work, and just more and more ease as I began to speak into and understand what was happening in my body, and that my body
Isn't it
trying
amazing?
to talk to me, and I didn't know how to listen to it. And so what I did is I got busy learning how to translate every single thing my body says. And because of that, I have healed 40 something years of repressed sexual trauma. I've found forgiveness. I've let go of shame. I've become a voice for other women and men who didn't remember or were too afraid to say. And so I completely changed the lens of what I believed happened to me. And now I see him on the other side with all my papas and all my men standing in God's glory and innocence. That is true healing. And I've done it.
Good for you. Thank you for sharing that story.
You're welcome.
Wow, it's an amazing story, Andrea. And the thing is that the way you're telling it, it makes so much sense. And there's so many women like myself that have experienced that in the past. And I do similar kind of work through Bessel van der Kolk and other teachers, right? That Peter Levine, and that all that work that you and me have done to understand that your body is always a manifestation of your emotional and mental pain, right? And things that
Yes.
we block, things that we're holding on to. I love the analogy that you said earlier about what are you holding in or what are you holding out, right? The wall analogy. That's beautiful because I remember that I worked with a lot of people. I have had similar sexual
Mhm.
experience in the past that I didn't, in another form, didn't process. And, there's later on I understood because I started working with people with exactly, I got certified, I got the diplomas, I knew what was going on, except for recognizing it inside myself. But the
Mm.
processing came when I started working with other people, as you do as well, because it taught me so much to see that people can even just come in here with their shoulders next to the ears, holding so much pain and anxiety and trauma. Maybe it just immediately sits there, right? You can recognize it when people are all tensed, of even deeper, going into that chronic pain, going into that lower back pain, intestine problems all the time, gastrointestinal, right? All that stuff that we're holding on to really sits there. So thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful,
Well,
very powerful. And I am so glad that you said that, we every coach has a great coach, right? It's a wonderful thing to reflect and constantly keep that accountability to recognize things that we are holding on or that we're recognizing now that we can process it so that we can help others. Very important. So
I-
you came really from your own experience as well in the field of anxiety coaching, helping others find joy and more ease. Yeah. Tell me a
and
little bit about your practice and the things that you do now, your clients, group work, individual, all the things that you
I
have experienced
we
lately.
do a lot of different things. And so my I do one-to-one, and the majority of women that are drawn to me have sexual trauma. It makes sense. We're going to attract and be attracted to those who have and or are doing the work. And that's one of the things that I'm really pleased about myself is I continue to do my own work every single day in some form.
Mhm.
And so then I have a business partner, and she and I do collective classes. We do things where in group consciousness, that because I love collective movement. It's so
Mhm.
powerful. And so that's something that we do. And then we also offer deep dive retreats to women. And it's My Body is My Blessing. And it's the trauma, definitely going into the body and doing trauma work, coaching, moving things through what's known as body electronics, which is holding endocrine points through acupressure. And it is one of the most amazing intimate experiences I have ever had to have. I did not, the first time I did a retreat and I had BE, I did not know, nor had I ever experienced, that there was so much love and support available to me in my life. It was astounding. And so that's the kind of programs that I have. And my training is in using conscious language, or what I call pure speech. And so we do all of this talking about the things that we don't want. I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't like this, I don't like that. We believe in want, we believe in lack, we believe that we've been left, we've got these codependent relationships. So our we our words have power.
Mhm.
Our words have energy and vibration. And what I believe and what I've learned is that every single word that we utter is a prayer.
Nice.
And we're
Yeah,
asking for what we don't want. People walk
absolutely.
around going, I'm tired, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm hungry, I'm this. The words
Yeah.
I am are represents spirit, God, universe, love, whatever it is that creates the beating of your heart. And am
Mhm.
is self. And so when
Mhm.
we're saying, I am this, I am that, we are praying and receiving that which we ask for. Because the
Absolutely.
subconscious mind is a servant to the conscious mind. Whatever we speak, we receive. And what we speak in
Yeah.
belief is what we create. And
Absolutely.
so even the simplest little "I feel tired" creates a completely different energy. It's no longer who we are, it's how we feel. And we have completely removed ourselves from feeling. There's even books out there now, F feeling. And I'm like, really? Because feeling is where it's all about. That's where we,
Yeah.
are leaving ourselves behind anyway. And one of the things that so our words, and we're saying, I don't want this and I don't want that. We are ordering life with with less specificity than we order sandwiches, salads, and pizzas. And I always say there's a 12-foot angel at the front door, and she is here to take your order, and you're asking for what you don't want. They won't give it to you. Tell them what you do need, what you do desire to have. And so it's this remembering this language of our heart. And we've had so much put on us in trauma and experiences that we can't have what we choose. We can't have what we desire. And so we stop asking and we hold it so close that we're afraid to speak it. And so I hear code in what is being said or what's yet to be said. A client gets on the phone, gets on a call, and she goes, "Oh, it's a rough week." And I'm like, "What's familiar about rough?" And it just, and then their body starts to move just because she's like, "My head's itching, my arms are itching." And so itching is a signal that relief is coming in. There's something new happening. And so every single part of our body, whether it's just a rash, which is a reaction to something that we didn't love, how we felt, because our skin is all about feeling. And things, and every disease has a every single friggin' symptom has some kind of translation. Heart stuff is obviously about love. Diabetes is about something where we've lost the sweetness of life.
Yes.
So it's all translatable in consciousness. And then because it's coming through their own words, then we create, I support them in creating decrees, a little bit different than affirmations, because it's using some scripture, I am that which I say I am, combined with their own words, to create deep feeling that moves the limiting belief. And so that's the neuroplasticity piece of this. Is we use decrees, we speak them 3 or 4 times a day for 40 days, and it creates a new neural pathway. And so that's why it's transformation, and it's why it's permanent transformation. And it's like the animal trails. The brain is always going to follow the path of least resistance. And when it learns a new one, it takes a little while. It's a little bit clunky, and until we fully land in it. And it's something I've been practicing. I talk to people about how I used to be, and they're like, "I don't know you that way." And they don't. I'm completely different.
Yes. You made a huge transformation for yourself. You know how it feels. You've been there. And yes, you explained this concept that I believe in so much. You explained it in a beautiful way. I think that we have a lot of limiting beliefs. There's a lot of shame and guilt, as you talk about a lot. There's a lot of that feel inside that we just can't really talk about feelings, right? And somehow we came from that. I, for instance, came from that era too, where you don't talk about that too much. At some point it was, and I think then it kind of like in the sign of the times kind of got under the table again, right? Got shoved under the rock to talk about it and to just constantly say, I am this, I am that. I truly believe in the power of affirmation. I truly believe in the law of attraction. I truly believe in going forward and saying what you want. And one of the most important things that you started with to say today is what I always start with my clients with. I know what you don't want, but you don't know what you do want, right? You don't know where you want to go. And you are sometimes afraid of going there, right? Because
Mhm.
I have also experienced with people a lot that they have somewhat of a fear. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. There's somewhat of a fear to be in that place of ease and joy, because what if life was just amazing, right?
It's
What if it
because
was just all there?
it's unknown.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
our brain's only job is to keep us safe. And the
Yes.
brain considers safe familiar. You
Mm-hmm.
hear the word family in there. It's
The
what we were
comfort
taught.
zone. Yeah.
It's what we were taught. And one of my favorite analogy, like I love this analogy. This fisherman, this crabber's walking down the pier and he's got a bucket full of crabs. And fisherman comes towards him and he says, "You better put a lid on that bucket. Those crabs are going to get out." And he says, "Nuh-uh." He goes, "When they get to the top, somebody pulls them back in." And that's what we do with ourselves. That's why we can start something, we begin to feel differently, and we go back to the old habits. We go back to the old thoughts
Yeah.
because it's familiar. It's
Your
what we
program, right?
know. And yes, and we've had our primitive, primordial, reptilian brain says, we don't know what's on the other side of that, even if it is joy.
Yes.
And we're
Yeah.
like, mm-mm. And so it takes what I call massive vigilant will to
Mhm.
continue to do for ourselves what is really working. And
Yes.
it's okay. I know you don't want to do it, and we're going anyway. That's what I
Mhm.
say to
We're
me.
going anyway. We love to hold on to that comfort zone. You say that so well, but also, and I believe that especially women, because of the work as caretakers that we do intrinsically, right? We take care of the family, the kids, and sometimes that comfort zone is really not such a happy comfort zone anymore. I work a lot with women as well, where we got that thing that, well, I take care of everybody. I forgot about me. When you get into that mindset, then that can linger for years, right? That becomes your safe zone. That becomes your only uh it becomes your drawback, right? You kind of stay in there as a woman. And I can see that sometimes we have to let go of a lot of patterns and a lot of relationships as well, just to do that for ourselves. And I think sometimes that holds women back, because we were so used to be the caretaker and not the one that says, I feel that I am going to have a great day all by myself, and I don't care what you guys are eating, but I am doing this for me. We're not used to saying that. So there's a lot of patterns,
There,
old patterns as well, that are slipping in there.
there is so much guilt
Mhm.
involved in that. And we were raised that was our job to take care of
Yeah.
everybody else because it's what we saw our mothers and our grandmothers do. And did we love it? No, we were bitter and angry about it
Yeah. Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
And then we were told we were selfish if we did anything for ourselves. And we began to believe that. And we then, in the movement of women coming up in work, that we believed that we had to do everything to show that we were as good as men, which is,
Valuable. Yes.
yes, and it doesn't, it's not, it's a belief, and that we have that there's, it's still the belief that there's power over us and we have to prove ourselves.
Mhm.
And
All the time. Hmm.
so
Yeah.
what I encourage my women, and I do myself, to practice, scripture says, to thy own self be true. Fill up thy cup first.
Yeah.
Even on the airplane, they tell you to put your mask on before taking care of
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
And
You can't do anything from an empty
we
cup.
can't, yes, we are so, women have been so depleted, and they're so afraid if they do anything for themselves, they're not going to get to all of it. I choose to remember when the last time the world ended because there was still laundry to do and the floors were dirty.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's yet
Yeah.
to happen. And we believe that we put our value in what we valued ourselves based on what we do. We learned that as children because we didn't get the things that we required, and that we got attention and accolades by doing. And what I
Do
have,
something for it. Mhm.
what
Prove yourself.
exactly,
Yeah.
and what is actually really true is when we give ourselves care, true care, different than pampering.
Yeah.
And it can look like 3 minutes a day, I'm going to do some breath. It can be
Mhm.
literally, that's where mine started. Because I'd be like, I don't have time. I'm like, really, Andrea, you don't have 3 minutes to do some breath for yourself? And
Yeah. Yeah.
so when we fill ourselves up, what shifts is other people begin to do for themselves because we believed that they couldn't do it on their own. We felt like they needed us, and it's dragging us and them down. And so this fallacy of taking care of others, we're here to care for ourselves greatly. And that when we do that with us, it teaches the people around us to care for themselves greatly. And then the quality that we bring to the relationship, be it friends, siblings, spouse, children, is improved.
Isn't it amazing? Yes. Yes, I love that. It's so true that we have been, and I can tell you from my own experience, and I talk about that story a lot. I was in the past, in my former life, I call that, just waiting on doing the things that I was supposed to do, thinking that would put in that little perfect picture frame of the perfect
Mhm.
uh wife, mother, spouse and sister, being all that perfect and just doing constantly without paying attention to myself, and also kind of waiting on the outside world in this way to make me happy, right? My experience of happiness would come from the outside world. The kids are great, the husband is fine, I am happy then, right? Instead of finding that on the in your interior, inside, right? That happiness of what really makes me happy, then the rest will fall in place. I'm not I'm not waiting, right, for anybody else or anything to make me happy. I have to find that inside. I love what you say on your website. I love what you say in your groups with women, loving life and just feeling joy and ease and feeling that relaxing into life. Because actually, if we do that, according to me and according to many of my soul sisters, life becomes a lot easier.
Yes.
Unless we don't want that, and unless we just don't want to be happy because it gets so easy and we've got nothing to drama about, right? Or to tear
That's
apart,
where those
right?
crabs pull you back into the
It really,
bucket.
it really gets, yeah, it really
I'm
gets easier. Perfect, yeah,
I
perfect
I know
analogy.
people who thrive on chaos and drama,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah,
it's not intentional. It's what they're familiar with, and they don't
yeah,
know any different. And
yeah, right.
um there's so
Yes.
much to learn about ourselves. Everything that we're really here to do for ourselves, to care for ourselves, to make we're the only ones that can make ourselves happy. If you're asking your husband and your children to make you happy, it's off course because they're never
Of
going to
course.
meet our expectations as
Yes,
much as they
absolutely.
try. And because if you've tried to meet other people's expectations and they're disappointed in you, why is it going to be any different?
It's
And
exhausting.
and when we, like one of the things that I empower my people to do is they're complaining about that they don't like how people treat them. They don't like how they're treated at work. Make a list of all that
Mhm.
stuff that you don't like and give it to yourself.
Yes.
Start dating yourself, loving yourself, creating the life that you love. I love Florence Scovel Shinn and the game of life. The way
Mhm.
we play the game of life is by doing what we love.
And isn't that exciting? Absolutely.
Yes.
I want to stop with that and ask you, I want to ask you where we can find you to do all those wonderful workshops together. Where can other listeners find you? What is a good way to join I have made some links also for you, but what is a good way to join your upcoming workshops and so forth and reach
So
out to you?
the easiest way to find me is andrea.alexander@embodycoaches.com. That's me directly. And then Embody Coaches, which is the business heading, you can find me. You can also find me on Facebook under Andrea K. Alexander. And
Yeah,
I'm the AKA anxiety coach. And what I have coming up next is perfect divine timing as usual. We are
mhm.
doing from shame into self-love, rewriting the narrative of what
I
we've
thought it.
experienced.
Yes. I saw that,
And
and I hope really that people are listening and reaching out for that. They can find you. And I also put the links in my Facebook. I already did about today. I also want you to go to the website embodycoaches.com.
Correct.
Yes. And bodycoaches.com. Go to that website, find Andrea and find out what she is doing and join us in this wonderful quest to uh, find ease in life and find joy. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate everyone who is watching today and who is watching the replay. Please reach out to us. And please, Andrea, thank you so much for being an amazing guest and sharing with everybody. And please just reach out, reply, put it in the comments on YouTube. We are all over the place. Andrea will have the replay. And please connect with us to join in this conversation about creating an amazing life for ourselves. Thank you so much for watching today, Aliens Joy. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.